Hello, everybody. I hope you all are having a beautiful day. I just wanted to take a second to briefly talk about playing in people's visions and imaginations. And I wanted to talk about how people can be affected by delusions if they're not careful. And I'm not talking about people with physical ailments or chemical imbalances. I'm talking about everyday people who begin to slowly dwindle down. Okay. I was listening to a message from Pastor Jennings, and that dude gets me on fire sometimes. I randomly like to listen to him here and there. And I realized something when he was talking to a brother in the Nation of Islam. A brother in the Nation of Islam called white people the pale horse and said that they were devils. I've been hearing this message from a long time ago, and that is totally untrue. That is a super racist thing to say. And if I don't want it done to black people, why would I want it done to anyone of any race? I told you all, just because a lot of people do something, or just because there's a group of people over here acting a certain type of way, they do not speak for an entire community. And in terms of the total number of people, that small group or percentage is nothing compared to the group think, so to speak. So with that being said, I was listening to Jennings also preach out of the Revelation, and he was talking about John and John's vision, and he's talking about the dead and the books of the dead and how they will rise after they died. And my hand started to do a little, and I noticed it. I took note of the flesh. It's paranoia. You guys, the Bible is a book of instruction from different men, but you're basically playing in their visions and imaginations. These men keep saying they have visions. They saw the Lord of hosts. One of them said he came down like a lick of fire in the Acts, like a tongue. Another one said that he come down on a cherubims with angels and different beasts on different side. Another one said he's like the ancient one of ancient days. You know what I mean, guys? This book is a book of ancient men's visions, dreams, and ideologies. You guys made John the Baptist's dreams come true. You just did it as a nightmare, as the pale and black horse. Because in my mind, as soon as I heard that man say that white people were the pale horse, because he said that Native Americans used to call white men pale men, then by that same ideology, the black horse is black people, right? Like, I don't understand why people don't fully use the full parameters of their brain, and why people try to use so much propaganda instead of understanding and realizing the true nature of life is that we all need to survive and that we all are humanity. You know, this whole ancient institution of white versus black, also us black people, you know what I mean? Sometimes the facts are facts. We are creating just as much fantasy and lies and soothsaying as much as anybody else in anybody's culture. I heard this man say that black people were the most oppressed people, and our slavery was the most oppressed slavery to ever exist. You're lying through your teeth, and there are people in countries still that are slaves still, actually, and you don't know the world around you. You don't know political science, you don't know history, you don't know anything. Because first of all, the Hebrews were beat the living hell up, and that was black on black crime. I promise you it was. Pharaohs and Egyptians were black, and so were the Hebrews. Those were the ancient days in ancient Africa on Mount Sinai and everything else. I'm not going to argue and play with people. Then you go later into history, you have the Arabic Empire and around that area. And to tell the truth, maybe Jesus was Arabic, because that demographic of people, Jews at that time, which Jews still were in the 1900s, were Arabic people. I don't know how it's coming towards being. Okay, I'm not even finna get into that. If Jewish people are Caucasian now, then it is what it is. But what I'm saying is the racism is what's tearing us apart. What I see between whites and blacks and Jewish and Palestinians is unbecoming to human nature with the medical science, history, and technology we possess. I just don't understand it. How the Pharaoh treated them back in the day with the whips and building of great pyramids and stuff is unrealistic. How they enslaved those people. That is why I denounce the Pharaoh in these videos and say everybody has a part of history that is messed up. I keep telling people over and over, in 43 AD, Julius Caesar, the Romans were enslaving the Caucasians in Northern Europe, the Irish and the Britons. First of all, English is an Anglo-Saxon Frisian Jute word. So then after the barbarians fought them down and defeated the Romans and kicked them back, then they enslaved the British and the Irish, because it's called England. That's an Anglo-Saxon word. They taught them English. The Briton and the Irish are different than the Anglo-Saxons. I promise you they are. Those are Germans and French and like Dutch and stuff. It's a whole nother demographic. So you, like, everybody will say, white, white, white. That's racist in itself. Y'all say don't say that with Asian people, but then y'all treat all white people the same. Wake up. You guys, we're all doing it. I've said it before. If we were all the same color, we would still fight and argue. This stupid racist ideology is unbecoming for how intelligent and sentient as we are. I'm watching preachers say that black people and this and that, and I'm watching black preachers say that white people, especially in the Nation of Islam. That's why I try to tell Arabic people when they see my videos from across the world, you have no idea what we're doing over here. You have no idea what the Nation of Islam through Farrakhan and them are doing. And these people are having a war back and forth just like the Palestinians and the Jews. This stuff needs to end now. Because I am growing heavily impatient. My children are mixed race and they will not be brought up in a world where we hate each other because of color. That is beyond ignorance and uneducated, I think. So, if anybody is understanding enough to hear me, also people that like deal with like delusions and stuff like that, guys, you always have remember you have reality. It's not your fault. You have movies like The Matrix, which is pure entertainment. You have foolish physicists and scientists who like to lie, and because of attention, they make up all these videos on YouTube, and they play with pretty words like stellar and interstellar and black wormhole, galaxy, gravity waves. They don't know what they're talking about. They're taking Einstein's and Stephen Hawking's and different physicists' hard work. Actually, if you want to know the truth, do some research on Einstein. He loved African Americans and he loved people of color. He wasn't a bigoted racist. And that's why he left Germany, because he came to America. But then when he came to America, he was like, oh my God. You'd be interested if you actually do some real history and research outside of the bigoted information that people give you. All these Anunnaki and giant stuff. There are people that are giants in the sense that they're bigger than us, taller, but not like some magical huge giant. Everybody's talking about this ancient stuff from the past, from the book of Enoch and all this other stuff. Tarry not with their spirits and be not afraid. They're attention seekers. They need attention, and they like all the pretty views they get when all the conspiracists and the right and the nutty people come out of the wilderness. When I say nutty, I don't speak in terms of people's psychology and or IQ. I'm talking about people who like to sow discord. You see what I'm saying? Mr. Jennings says something very intelligent. He said that the Bible was a history book, and that's true. We are looking at different men's spirits at the time who found God for themselves, the name of I am who I am, because I am, I exist. So with that being said, all this foolish racism, you guys are like the fool. You hate people because of their color. Are you afraid? You guys know that racism is a form of fear, and fear is a form of not understanding oneself and being afraid of oneself. Because who is the one that gives oneself any ideas or thoughts? Myself. So when dealing with delusions and things that are not true, I could be sitting on my couch watching a movie. I have different friends tell me one time that something is true because it was in a movie. And I'll think to myself, my God, glasses off. Like, guys, this is pure entertainment. It's to keep us busy or to keep us occupied. The true nature of reality is there are accredited scientists and there is a way to get an education. I advocate for Khan Academy on YouTube. They have a great selection of playlists, and they have a lot of... I'd actually like to walk you through this real quick, because a lot of times people go off in a left field, especially with religion, and you got to be careful, guys. A couple of people I do advocate for because they stand by the word in a physical way, but still I don't agree with all of their teachings. Is Jennings and what's that guy's name? Pastor Gino. I keep calling people pastors. We're all men. Brother Gino Jennings and what's that guy's name? TD Jakes. He's cool. He's very helpful. But guys, I've told you before, I am one man, so my belief is not everybody else's. I do not give God an image. I do not think about what God is doing, and I do not try to understand afterlives or what God does for any reason, because as you all have children and as we all have parents, that's like saying, Dad, why am I being punished forever and ever for no reason? And the dad looking down at him saying, because you're evil. I don't understand you all's logic. You guys, if God is the creator and he created us and he's our father, I'm pretty sure the things that you create, you want to like endure. Even think as a businessman, if you were running a business, you create a business and then you're like, you're evil. I'm gonna burn you down. Like nobody does thinks like that. You know what I mean? Like I don't think. I hope not. So I want to show you all something real quick, um, to just kind of help you guys understand. So all you have to do, go here, Khan Academy, Khan. Um, and what I do is, guys, I go to playlists, and oops, and when I go to playlists, sorry about that. You can go down here. They have math and they have They have videos, guys, from basic education all the way up. Basic education, addition, subtraction. I'm telling you, exponents. Right, it goes all the way up and all the way down. Get you guys an education. It's for free. They have engineering and science. You won't get degrees and stuff like that, but I'm telling you, within education and becoming smarter in life, then you could go to community college. That's another thing in America. Community college, guys. The government gives out grants and stuff. They did. I don't know if they still do, but they have something called the FAFSA, the FAFSA, and you do your FAFSA, and they pay for a grant, and you get educated. Computer programming, HTML. This with computers and stuff, guys. And also, I like to tell people, especially as we get older, computer games. You know what I mean, or games. I'm gonna show you guys something. Another app. It's called Google Play, the Play Store. You guys, if you have nothing to do and you got free time, go download some games and play some games. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be free to. It doesn't have to be pay to play. I used to play a game called Order and Chaos. Crusaders of Light was more expensive. I play Call of Duty Mobile. They just got all kinds of games. You know what I mean? That games that you wouldn't think of, fishing games, all types of games. Keep your mind occupied. They have puzzles and all types. So back to the regularly scheduled programming. You guys, you just sorry about the rain sound. I like to play the rain when I'm sleeping. I didn't even realize it was playing. I'm that used to the rain going off. So you guys will probably watch this video and think, why is it raining in this man's house? The beauty of technology, you know what I mean? I think there's so much to do in this, especially in this new day and age, that I don't understand crime and I don't understand a lot of stuff nowadays. I take that back. Some people are hurting, and a lot of people, are in different places in life or born in different places in life, so they have a different experience. So I don't seek to judge anybody. I just seek to stick my hand in the fires to help pull people out. When I say that, that's a spiritual metaphor, which means I just like to lift my hand out to help people and speak to people and reach people. Um, so also when dealing with delusions and things that aren't true, sometimes I'll just give you a piece of myself. If I'm just, minding my business and I get a thought or something that's not for me, I just simply say, I rebuke thee, Satan. Or I simply say, get behind me. Um, no, thank you. It's not who I am. And when I say these things, I'm not talking about out loud. You guys know that inner voice or the conscience or the spiritual collective spirit that you have, whatever you want to call it. Um, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I just simply say, I rebuke thee. The Lord who chooses Jerusalem. If you want to turn into a poem or, this is your experience, your life. The Lord who chooses Jerusalem rebuke thee. I watched a video of a child or somebody. Well, one was a child in Asia. I believe he was Chinese because it said Chinese child. And he figured out a Rubik's Cube in 3.9 seconds. I was like, whoa, dude, that's awesome. And there was this other person. I don't know what nationality he was. They didn't put it up. But he was juggling Rubik's Cubes, three of them, and he solved them. While juggling them, he would catch it, switch, catch it, switch. It was pretty awesome. So we all have a very beautiful, special talent. I saw one man flipping pizza boxes and making pizzas. It looked like with his coworker, or it might have been a family business. And the way he was flipping them professionally and going as fast as he was, that was a talent to me. I was like, oh, that's pretty awesome. So there's a lot of positivity in the world, guys. If you need to, sometimes wake up, whatever you want to call it. If you want to call it like meditate, just sit there for a moment, or maybe pray. When I think of prayer, I don't think this is like, you don't got to get down on your knees and do all that. But if that's what you're into, I could be sitting right here just praying on the inside, because, that whole subservient, get down stuff, I feel like God wants to empower us and wants us to have courage and strength and stand up and be strong like Joshua. You know what I mean? Just whatever you need to be strong and caring and loving at the same time. Because I don't want to create a generation of strong, angry people. That would not be good. So, you know, let's try to help each other. African Americans, if you see people ridiculing white people or Chinese people or Hispanics, you know what I'm saying? Let's try to help. Caucasian people, if you see people of color getting ridiculed, or you see your brothers getting transgressed, and that passive aggressive stuff you guys are doing, okay, two things. One, African Americans and people of color, you got to chill. That super angry anger stuff, you got to chill. You know what I'm talking about. You got to chill. The whole white, you got to chill. And Caucasians, that whole passive aggressive, racist words don't make me angry. I don't see racism. I don't see color. You got to chill. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Or you're not human and you don't have the same chemicals and charges in the brain that everybody else does. You notice things that aren't like you. You even notice things that are like you, all human beings. And so we got to chill with the passive aggressive. It's not racist. And yes, it is. It's all type of racist bullcrap going on. And what's going to happen is, as we all become more equal in other ways, then what's going to happen is going to be ultimately a system of poor versus rich, and the rich are going to ridicule the poor, which will be everybody, and it won't matter what color you are. So we need to fix this now while it's still some form of dignity. Um, like that whole the hatred towards Hispanics in the border and saying they commit crimes. I've showed you all the crime table. If you all need to see this for yourself, go to Google and type in FBI crime statistics table 43. And you will see the number of crimes different people commit. And then when you see that, type in what is an accidental death charge. And you will see that a lot of people that commit murders or kill people or some form of death get pleaded down to where it's not manslaughter or murder. You know what I'm saying? So that's not fair also in terms of dealing with statistics, because it makes one group of people seem violent while another group of people seem like angels, when that's not the case statistically speaking. It creates a false narrative, and then the system explodes because it's not real. It says in the Bible, guys, that the liar, I think you guys are building on lies, and that's why the system is like breaking down. When I say this, I'm not talking about some magical matrix or a system. I'm talking about the system of oppression that we're dealing with the political environment of America. There we go. What is it called? Capitalism. It's extremely unbalanced for people of color and women. And so I think we need to treat each other with respect. Because when I say imbalance, here's the problem. It's not the law. The laws are there. The diversity, don't treat each other wrong, affirmative act, the laws are there. With the imbalance is coming from the heart. I'm telling you all. You can make as many laws as you want, but if the people are still crazy, racist, and psychotic, then nothing's going to change. So, the people, don't you see guns, schools, this, that, all these things? Those are in thou shalt worship nothing under the land and the earth or the sea, idol nothing under the sun. It's the human heart. Until humans fix themselves, know thyself, and learn that you have these scary feelings of other colors and races, no matter who you are. Know that you have these bigoted feelings. Know that you need help in being retrained and reprogrammed because of what we were taught. Then it's never going to change. One time, a thought came to my mind, and I went to say, I rebuke thee, and something said, tell the truth. And I said, okay, yes, I have a problem with that. On the inside of my spirit, and it said, thank you, very good. And then something happened. I just started to get better. I started to work on it naturally on the inside. Instead of me working to say I rebuke thee and fighting myself, something just like made it better. And it started, I don't possess magic powers. What I'm telling you is when you begin to learn yourself, and then by knowing yourself, ask for help. It's like if you're in a classroom and you don't know a problem, and the teacher asks you, are you sure you need help with that? And you're like, I rebuke thee, teacher. That's what the Spirit teaches us. So I love you all. You guys don't really understand necessarily what I'm talking about right now because maybe some of you don't have a spirit the way I do. Maybe some of you don't communicate with the mind, body, and soul the way I do. Maybe some of you don't have a connection with God the way that I do. And so it's about learning and growing. Some people are into a show called Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z has a character named Goku in that show. Goku at first as a child is just a Saiyan. He's just a little Saiyan with a little tail. But as he progresses and grows into a man, he becomes a Super Saiyan God and learns Ultra Instincts. That's almost like how I describe myself spiritually. Now, when a negative thought comes to my mind, it's just like, ding. Or if something that's not for me, I get like, instinctually, I know. So people will be like, why are you this way? Or why are you so nice? Or Wani, wake up or grow up or something like that. It's not up to me. It's my spirit. It's if I start to do something wrong on the inside, I can see it. And so then I judge myself based on my character. And so it's harder for me to do wrong. So what I'm saying is, I believe that is a beautiful thing. I believe I have a beautiful mind. I govern myself. And so I have a strong relationship with myself. And so then that way I know how to manage and maintain in the real world. Um, This comes from morals and being taught. I didn't just wake up like this. My parents taught me these things. I grew up in a biblical family and I had an education. I wasn't allowed to mess up in school back in the day. That's not, my parents weren't fascists. It's just saying, me also, like I got pleasure from getting the right answer. I got joy from doing the right thing. And I still do to this day. It's like a reward that I can't explain because you guys don't see it. It's like chemicals or something that's released, or the hormones, or the happiness. You know what I mean? And the body, the blood work, the network, the mind, body, and soul. I don't know. So you guys, we can sit in a room. I hear people saying oftentimes, an idle mind is the devil's playground, which is kind of true because if you're sitting there blank and you just letting anything come to your mind, then I'm going to give you two things. First thing, when people say that you're afflicted with something for life, that is not always true. So when I say that, I'll give you an example. People, and I'm talking about psychology right now. So, and I'm not talking about chemicals. See, that's physical. So people will be like, I have this bipolar. This is a common trend now, bipolar, ADHD, and all these other. You guys, you are animals. What I'm saying is, we are all animals on this planet Earth that were raised up to be humans. So when you hear me say that, you all see like tigers and bears and animals and you think, oh, that's just their nature. Then why does it come to us? You all go, oh God, the Lord God is punishing. It's our nature to make mistakes and stuff like that. We learn from them. We grow from them. If I live to be punished, then that means the tyrant is my father. Now, I want you to go say God is a tyrant and see if you don't feel like a fool. Like, guys, you're making him to be like that. You're killing the spirit, so to speak, and leaving the witnesses dead in the streets. Moses and Jesus, you guys are turning them into torment. Oh, my goodness. Who are the two biggest witnesses in the Bible? You guys know who the two witnesses are. You guys are playing with theology, Grecian theology, and you're making up all these teachings and all this, and that. It's plain and clear. Moses was the witness in the Old Testament. He wrote that. And then Jesus was the witness in the New Testament. Wasn't that his words through Matthew and the disciples? So, but even like when playing a game of telephone, if you tell one person something and whisper it in their ear, by the time it gets to the last person, telephone is a game where you line a bunch of people up in a circle and they each whisper something in each other's ear where the other people can't hear it. And by the time it gets to the end, you try to see what the message was. That's basically what you guys are doing with religion. You guys are mashing words up like mashed potatoes and then putting gravy on top and then throwing it in the oven and crisping it. That's just, anyways, I hope you all can stay beautiful and loving. If you start to feel yourself go down below, like when Moses said, hold the staff up. If you feel the staff going down below, please don't physically hold up any staffs. That's a metaphor for a spiritual teaching, meaning if keep yourself humble and happy and thankful And if you can't, try your hardest. And if you can't, ultimately, there's primary care providers and doctors and medical science and psychology. If you should so will, there's psychologists and doctors and therapists. Um, so that's, listen, I'm not here to accuse or destroy anybody. I'm just basically saying you all better figure it out when treating people kindly. When it comes to the institutions, you guys are treating people very bad. Like, the African American population is 13%, but 40% of us make up the prisons. That's illogical. We're not even violent, and we're not even like that. And you guys are putting us in environments of ghettos and negative neighborhoods that are already instituted to be like this. And then when a child is raised up, that's all he knows. And then you're like, oh, black. No, that's not even. You guys are playing with socioeconomics, and you guys are playing with political science. And okay, so like, I'll give you an example. People come up to me and say they love Ronald Reagan. And then that upsets me. But see, people don't understand why it upsets me, so I don't attack them or say anything negative. I just go, then I'll say why. And then they'll probably start to tell me why he was such a great man and da-da-da. So then I'll show them videos of him calling us monkeys and saying that we need to be destroyed, and that they put crack in the African-American neighborhoods. This is declassified now. This is something that actually happened. They need to pay for the war. So they flooded the neighborhood with drugs, and all the checks would go back to the government. It's a whole cycle. That's not a conspiracy. It's real. So let's change. Let's stop thinking that people of color are what you think they are, because they're not. You have been programmed to think that, especially if you don't even know any African Americans or black people are Africans or anything like that. That's super racist and rude and foolish. You're being programmed, and you're being afraid of something. Like, I'll give you an example. I had a family member one time tell me they didn't like Indian people, and I got enraged. But I didn't get enraged on the outside. It was my style. I was like, why? Why don't you like them? And then they started saying funny stuff. So then we had a long talk, and then we worked it out. And now I don't think they feel this way anymore. But that's just, we was younger, you know what I mean? I love you. So, everybody's got their thing in life, but try to make that thing peacefuler, more kinder, more humble. Because the Pharaoh was the most powerful man on the planet. And that dude grave got dug up. Who is he now? He's in some European museum. Disrespected all their religion. Because I thought it was written that they wanted to stay in the afterlife. So, I mean, maybe, the irony, especially when it says God won't be mocked. So technically technically they did make it to the afterlife. So the pharaohs are in a display somewhere, forever and ever and ever, to be known forever and ever after life. And Moses is in a book that people misinterpret over and over and over, forever and ever and ever. Yeesh. So I don't tell you guys these things to paranoid you. I tell you that because it's not always cool being famous and being the biggest and being the one. I keep telling you guys, like, there is simplicity and beauty in life. And that simplicity and peace of mind that everybody overlooks to try to look for some magical gold in the Bible and all these religious afterlives and holy books. You guys, do not forsake your peace. Forsake not the flesh, not the mind, the body, the soul. Try your hardest to protect yourselves. You know what I mean? And your hearts. Something I want to tell you guys. I hope this doesn't hurt anybody's feelings. This is just a theory of mine. I wanted to put it on camera. The reason, I'm just going to say this, so I hope I don't offend anybody. The reason you guys' structure of God is fallible and doesn't make sense is because I don't think you understand what the word infinite means, truly means. I think you guys romanticize and play with that word and then add human logic to it. The word infinite means goes on forever. And so if mankind's movements are random and free will, then that would mean that there is an infinite possibilities of what one human soul could do. So that means with that infinite possibilities looking in foresight, that human soul, even if observed a lot of times infinitely, he could do something different at one point, leading into a different path, leading into a different set of parameters. So let's say I wake up in the morning and I yawn, but then after I yawn, I go to the right. But then after I yawn, I go to the left. But then after I yawn, I stand straight up. But then after I yawn, I go to the left just slightly, or maybe just more slightly, or maybe to another point of space. You see what I'm saying? Now follow along with me. Now, if you take that ideology with randomness and free will and the RNG randomness of life, then that means infinitely you would have to observe somebody infinitely and all their possibilities. Now you take billions and billions of life for infinity and then all the stars and the randomness of all those other things. You guys, that is illogical because the word infinite means that for one or for something, you would go infinitely do that. And so then you would have no knowledge of what they would actually do because it's free will. So what I'm telling you all is you cannot know the future for somebody that has free will. It's infallible because then you would multiply that by everybody on the planet. Not only that, by the infinite amount of infinities, which means that God would have to go into left field somewhere and infinitely do a calculation, even in dealing with numbers, with something, instead of knowing infinitely the possibilities. Do you see what I'm saying? So I guess what I'm saying is you guys understanding an ideology of the spirit that you're creating is extremely fallible, and you need to structure and build on logic now that we have the information and knowledge. Because what you're doing is if you build on something that's fallible, then the house is going to be destroyed, so to speak. So what I'm saying is the only thing that's truly infallible is life, is the things that we is the living of life. And what you do in life is your decision, your choice. We all have the choice to do something, to do whatever it is that we're going to do in life. And for me, I like to do the right thing. I like to, but I do the right thing with my discernment, with my knowledge of the world. So I may give a homeless person some food on the corner, or I may give a homeless person $1 or two. But at the end of the day, I know my financials, I know how much I'm able to give, and I know that at the end of the day, I cannot save the world by myself. And so basically, I have my parameters. For anybody that's into like science, or I basically have my life. And with that life, I have a relationship with God because I told you all what spirits are to me, and I told you how spirits work. Even when dealing with God, the spirit created itself. Its spirit hovered above the waters, and then the heavens and earth was created. Mankind, the brain, the collective knowledge of who I am. I am more intelligent than my cat, but technically I am not because he has hunting skills that will keep him alive in the wilderness while I could die because I am civil, because of my civilized nature and my domesticated nature towards technology. See how that works? So, what is true intelligence? At the end of the day, instincts are survival. That's why if you do watch Dragon Ball Z, there's something called Ultra Instinct. It's when you instinctually know to do that which is right. So, I love you all, and have a beautiful life.